All right, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, call I'm La, Eloheinu, wa Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakakodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule on teach well, and a hearty Shalom to the elect. All right, your brother Karat is back with another lesson through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shai Shai. And again, it's another lesson about war because that's all that's being talked about. That's one of the things that's being talked about, okay? All right. Amongst geopolitical references, okay, if that makes sense, right? So I got a few articles. I'm going to read some of them, and Lord will, you can see that we are in the times of the Lord coming back, okay? 2026 is going to be fire, okay? Literally fire, right? So it says, nevertheless, hear thou now this word that I speak in thine ears. Let's see how I do this. I nevertheless hear thou now this word that I speak in thine ears and in the ears of all the people. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied against many countries, against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. My point in reading this is to highlight the key thing that the prophets of the Lord will be talking about in the last days, which is war. One of the things is war. Okay, the word for war.
Strong's H 4421. Milchama. Milchama.
All right, it says battle war. Okay, all right, there's a lot of wars going on. You got race wars going on within America. You have cultural wars going on, and you have geopolitical wars. Okay, you got economic wars. You got all kind of stuff going on war-wise. Okay, it says war, a conflict, a campaign, or it says a state of armed conflict between different nations or states or different groups within a nation or state. All right, and it's going to be what we're going to be talking about is nations. Okay. So here goes one news article. It says Europe getting ready for Russia war despite Trump talks. All right, I'm gonna read a little bit of all these articles that I'm gonna pull out. It says Europe nations are preparing for war with Russia. Moscow's foreign minister has said ahead of planned meetings with U.S. between U.S. and President Donald Trump and President Zelensky in Florida. It says why it matters. Why it matters because war like this at this type of scale, okay, Europe and Russia, all right, is going to bring about World War III. That's why it matters in one way, shape, form, or fashion. It's going to bring about World War III. It says several European officials have repeatedly said that the continent is not at war with Russia, but that the peacetime conditions have been in place since the end of the Cold War. Are over. The peacetime conditions are over. Okay. European countries, many of which are part of NATO, have pledged to dramatically raise defense spending in the face of Russia's vast investment in its own military as it plugs away with its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. I did a lesson the other day, and it had North Korea in there. It was talking about North Korea building more factories in regards to its nuclear stockpile. Everybody's defense budget is going up. America's is going up. These other nations' defense budgets are going up because war is on the rise. Okay, it says here, alliance officials say Moscow could be able to launch an armed attack on NATO before the end of the decade, and rapid rearmament is the only way to deter a conflict. NATO countries are obliged to treat an attack on one member state as an assault on all and respond accordingly. All right. So that's all I'm going to read from there. Okay. You can go read it on your own. All right. War is coming. All right. It says Europe getting ready for war with Russia. Let's go through here and see some more. All right. Look at this. It says right here, Russian ship transporting nuclear equipment to North Korea sinks. Okay. Let's see. There was some more I wanted to talk about in here. All right, here we go. Trump warns Iran of further U.S. strikes if it reconstitutes nuclear program. All right, why is Iran such a problem? I'm not sure. All right, but President Donald Trump warned on Monday that the U.S. could carry out further military strikes if the country attempts to reconstitute its nuclear program as held wide-ranging talks with Israeli Prime Minister at his home in Florida. Trump had previously insisted that Tehran's nuclear capabilities were completely and fully obliterated by U.S. strikes on key nuclear enrichment sites in June. But with Netanyahu by his side, Trump raised the possibility that suspected activity could be taking place outside those sites. As Israeli officials, meanwhile, have been quoted in local media expressing concern about Iran rebuilding its supply of long-range missiles capable of striking Israel. It's all about protecting Israel. All right, so here we go. More talks of war. All right, this is it. War is on the rise. Okay. Let's see. All right, here we go. The Lord's army being built up. All right, it says Russia's nuclear capable Oren-Sink missile system has entered active service. Russia's nuclear-capable Oren-Sink missile has officially entered active service. The country's Missile Ministry of Defense announced on Tuesday as diplomatic efforts continue to seek a resolution to Moscow's conflict in Ukraine. The deployment of the advanced weapons system took place in neighboring Belarus, where troops participated in a brief ceremony to mark its operational status. Right? The Lord is opening his armory. All right. It's another scripture in Jeremiah 25. Let me grab it. I think it's 50 and 25. All right, this is Jeremiah 50 and 25. Start at 24. I'm going to start at 23. It says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken down? All right, Babylon the Great, America. All right. How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Because the Lord's judgment for America to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire. That's how, specifically, you can see within articles like this, Russia and other countries are preparing for war, nuclear war, okay? It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. Go read Obadiah 1 and 10 and see how Esau, America, and more nations have striven against the Lord. It says, Yahweh hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of Yahweh of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Come against her from the uttermost border, open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing be left of her. That's how it's going to be for this place, man. All right? There's nothing going to be left here. Jeremiah the 34th chapter tells you that. 2 Peter the 3rd chapter tells you that. Jeremiah 51 tells you that. All right? Revelation the 18th chapter tells you that. All right? There's not going to be anything left here for in America. All right, let's see. Just read that one. All right, look at this. More of the Lord's armory. All right, Iran reportedly developing chemical biological missile warheads as protests spread over collapsing economy. Iran is reportedly developing chemical and biological warheads for its ballistic missiles as the country faces mounting domestic unrest fueled by collapsing currency and soaring inflation. Don't think that's not happening over here in America, according to an exclusive report published by the Iran International on Sunday. The outlet, citing unnamed military and security sources, reported that Iran's Islamic IRGC has accelerated work on unconventional missile payloads alongside upgrades to command and control systems. If confirmed, the developments would raise serious alarms in Washington and Israel, particularly as Tehran struggles to contain growing anger at home. All right, I'm not gonna read all of it because you can see here what is going to lead to. All right, it's all going to lead to war. All right, that's all it's about. It's going to lead to war. All right, this is I'm gonna get it in Mark because that's my favorite book. This is Mark 13, and verse 7. It says, and when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled, for such things must needs be, but the end shall not be yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginnings of sorrows. All right. So we not even at the beginning of sorrows yet, but they coming. Okay, let's look at that word sorrows right quick. It says sorrow, the pain of childbirth, travail, pain, birth pangs, intolerable anguish in reference to the dire calamities precede the evident of the Messiah. Dire calamities. Let's look at this word calamities. It says calamity, a disaster. Calamity, an event causing great and often sudden damage or disaster or distress, a disaster. Look at the word dire. Terrible disasters, okay? Extremely serious or urgent disasters are coming. That's beautiful, man. All right. That's one for this place, man. All right. But just war's on the way, man. War's on the way. Dire calamities are on the way. Okay. All right. And that's a good thing, man. All right. Good. That's a great thing. Here we go. North Korea fires cruise missiles as Kim underscores nuclear ambitions. All right, you can just go to the Newsweek app and read this stuff for yourself. All right, it's all here. Fox News published this one day ago, so you can go read this on your own. I'm gonna read the first couple paragraphs. North Korea test fired 2 strategic cruise missiles as leader Kim Jong-un pledged to continue unlimited development of his nuclear stockpile, according to state media. I just did a lesson yesterday. I mentioned it earlier that he wants more factories built so they could continue to produce nuclear weapons or missiles. It says the launch involves cruise missiles designed to carry nuclear warheads, according to North Korea's state-run KCNA. Kim promised to devote all their efforts to unlimited and sustained development of the state nuclear combat force. The weapon flew over the country's west coast for close to 3 hours. KCNA said it did not reveal how far the missiles traveled. Well, we know the missiles going to have the spirit of the Lord in them, and they're going to come over here to America when the time is right.